They came in droves, boarding the hate train with malicious intent, each passenger armed with slander and defamation aimed directly at you. The locomotive of lies gained speed as more people jumped on, thinking their collective voice would be enough to destroy your reputation forever. They shared seats with gossip, made room for rumors, and fueled the engine with falsehoods. But what they didn't account for was your resilience, your truth standing firm like immovable tracks. Now, that same hate train lies crashed and burned, smoke billowing from its wreckage, flames consuming the carefully crafted narratives they tried to spread. The spectacle draws onlookers, but not to witness your downfall as intended. Instead, they've gathered to see the aftermath of a campaign that ultimately failed. As the dust settles, one thing becomes crystal clear: game over. Their mission to tear you down has met its fiery end, leaving you standing tall amid the destruction of their own making. It always starts with one voice, one bitter whisper that morphs into a roar. The instigator, the architect of the hate train, was someone who couldn't stand the light you carried. Maybe it was an old friend turned enemy, a jealous onlooker, or someone who felt overshadowed by your mere existence. Instead of confronting their own insecurities, they found an easier solution: smear your name, twist your words, fabricate stories, and ensure others saw you through the distorted lens they provided. They didn't need proof, just a compelling enough lie. And the worst part? People listened. Hate spreads like wildfire when people are eager to believe the worst. Some joined in because they craved the chaos, finding twisted entertainment in tearing someone down. Others followed blindly, unwilling to seek the truth for themselves. They took rumors at face value, passing judgment without hesitation. Then there were those who had always been envious but lacked the courage to act alone. The hate train gave them a collective excuse to finally unleash their resentment under the guise of concern or accountability. Each passenger had their reason, some personal, some petty, but all of them believed they were on the winning side. Strength in numbers made them arrogant, made them believe their voices could drown out reality. And for a moment, it seemed like they were right. There were always a few who led the charge, the self-proclaimed leaders of the movement against you. They were the ones who orchestrated the defamation, strategically planting seeds of doubt in people's minds. These were the manipulators, the ones who thrived on deception. Maybe they envied your influence. Maybe they wanted to control the narrative, or maybe they simply couldn't stand the idea of you succeeding. These individuals weren't just passive participants. They had something to gain, some sought attention, basking in the temporary power that came with directing the mob. Others had a vendetta, a personal grudge they disguised as righteousness. They pretended to be on a moral high ground, but their motives were anything but noble. The formula was simple: repeat a lie enough times and people will start to believe it. They kept the narrative alive through whispers, social media, and subtle jabs disguised as concern. They controlled the conversation, making sure your voice was drowned out before you even had a chance to speak. And so the hate train kept moving, fueled by assumptions and exaggerations, gaining momentum with each new recruit. What they never considered, though, was the inevitable truth. What goes around comes around. Lies can only hold power for so long before they collapse under the weight of reality, and as history has shown, the bigger the train, the harder the crash. The very machine they built, the one they thought was unstoppable, has derailed in front of their eyes. The hate train, once a roaring force of destruction, now lies in smoldering ruins. The wreckage is undeniable: shattered reputations, exposed lies, and a desperate scramble to rewrite history. The same people who once proudly spread falsehoods now find themselves at the center of scrutiny, their credibility in tatters. They thought they could manipulate the narrative forever, that their voices would always overpower the truth. But now, the truth is louder than ever. The ones who blindly followed, who once cheered on the destruction, are beginning to question everything. The whispers have changed direction, and the spotlight has shifted. Instead of discussing your supposed downfall, people are now dissecting the very foundation of the hate train itself. The architects of deception have nowhere left to hide. They can feel it, the shift in energy, the weight of consequences settling onto their shoulders. Their power is gone. The influence they once wielded has slipped through their fingers like sand. The people they manipulated are waking up, distancing themselves, embarrassed to have ever taken part in the chaos. Conversations that used to be filled with confidence and mockery are now laced with uncertainty and regret. The ones who once walked with arrogance now move in silence, hoping to avoid the inevitable judgment coming their way. Their reputations are destroyed. Some have been called out directly, their lies exposed in ways they never anticipated. Others are feeling the sting of social isolation, opportunities vanishing, invitations rescinded. The same crowd that once uplifted them now avoiding them like a curse. The tables have turned, and they know it. But the worst part for them, the realization that they can't undo what's been done. The damage they inflicted was meant to be permanent, but now they are the ones who have to live with irreversible consequences. Their downfall isn't just public, it's personal. They feel it in the way people look at them differently, in the uncomfortable silences where laughter used to be. They are haunted by their own actions, trapped in the very mess they created. And then there's you, standing, strong amidst the ruins, untouched by the destruction they tried to inflict. The fire that was meant to consume you has only refined you. You don't even need to say a word. The truth speaks for itself, louder than any accusation ever could. The game they played is over. The hate train has crashed, and they are the ones left picking up the wreckage. Panic. That's what they feel now. The weight of their actions has settled in, and they don't know how to escape it. The same people who once spoke with confidence, who ridiculed you without hesitation, are now scrambling to find a way out. But there is no easy exit. Their words, their actions, their betrayal, it all lingers, impossible to erase. They built a house of lies, and now they are trapped inside as it crumbles around them. Some of them want to fix it. They wish they could undo the damage, take back the slander, rewrite history in a way that makes them look less guilty. And so, they try. Some offer weak apologies, carefully crafted statements designed more to save face than to express genuine remorse. Others attempt to reconnect, acting as if nothing ever happened, hoping that time will erase the past. But deep down, they know the truth. It's too late. They underestimated you. They thought you would break, that you would disappear, that you would crumble under the weight of their attacks. Instead, you thrived. Instead, you became stronger. And now, they are left with nothing but regret. They thought they had control, but now they are the ones spiraling. The manipulators, the ones who orchestrated the hate train, are feeling it the worst. Their tricks no longer work. The influence they once had is gone. The people who blindly followed them are turning away, realizing they were used. The same power they wielded to tear you down has slipped from their grasp, leaving them exposed. Without their army of enablers, they are nothing. And then there's divine judgment, the one force they never accounted for. They thought they could get away with everything, that they could destroy someone without facing any consequences. But energy doesn't work that way. What they put out is now coming back tenfold. The lies, the deceit, the malice, it's all returning to them in ways they never expected. Relationships are crumbling, opportunities are disappearing. The life they once knew is slipping away, piece by piece. They don't know how to fix this. They don't know how to stop the storm they created. But that's not your problem. They made their choice. Now, they have to live with it. They will tell themselves whatever they need to in order to justify their actions. They will claim they had a reason, that they were exposing something, that you somehow deserved it. But the truth is far simpler and far uglier. They attacked you because your presence exposed something in them they could not bear to face. You didn't do anything to them. You never went out of your way to harm them, never tried to tear them down. In fact, you may have even helped them, supported them, wished them well. But none of that mattered. Your light was the problem. Your authenticity, your confidence, your strength. It highlighted everything they lacked. Every insecurity they buried, every weakness they pretended not to have, was suddenly impossible to ignore when you walked into the room. They needed you gone because you were living proof that their excuses were lies. They spent years convincing themselves that certain things were impossible, that success required shortcuts, that true power could only be taken, not earned. And yet, there you were, proving them wrong simply by existing. Your presence alone shattered their delusions. They wanted you silenced because they knew what you carried. You spoke truth, you carried wisdom, you had power. They saw the way others listened when you talked, the way people respected you, the way your energy could shift an entire space. And it terrified them, because if people saw you for who you really were, then the lies they built their own identities upon would start to unravel. But this wasn't just petty jealousy. No, this was deeper. This was spiritual warfare. This was an orchestrated attempt to derail you from your purpose, to strip you of your voice, to make you doubt yourself so much that you willingly stepped away from the path you were meant to walk. They weren't just attacking your reputation. They were attacking your destiny. That's why it was so relentless. That's why it didn't make sense. That's why no amount of reasoning or explaining could have ever changed their minds. This was never about logic. This was about control. This was about fear. But what they failed to realize is that truth is not so easily erased. Light is not so easily extinguished. And now, as the dust settles, as their own actions come back to haunt them, one thing is undeniable. You were never the problem. They were. There's no escaping it now. The energy they put out is returning to them in ways they never imagined. They thought they could move on, pretend it never happened, slip back into their old lives without consequence. But karma doesn't forget. The seeds they planted in malice have finally bloomed, and now they are forced to reap what they sowed. They are trapped in the consequences of their own actions. The same tactics they used against you, lies, manipulation, deceit, are now being turned against them. Their circle is crumbling. The people who once stood by them are now watching, from a distance, afraid to get caught in the downfall. Their own words are being used against them, their past actions resurfacing in ways they never expected. And the worst part, there's nothing they can do to stop it. Doors that were once wide open are now slamming shut. The same people they impressed with their slander are nowhere to be found. The social currency they once had is gone, their credibility shattered beyond repair. No one wants to associate with them anymore. No one trusts them. The opportunities they once took for granted are slipping away, and no matter how hard they try, they can't outrun the consequences. Regret is setting in. Deep, agonizing regret. They never thought it would end like this. They never considered that their actions would come full circle. They thought they were untouchable, that their lies would never be exposed, that they would never have to answer for what they did. But now, the guilt is eating them alive. Every quiet moment is filled with the echoes of their own betrayal. Every time they look in the mirror, they are reminded of what they've done. Listen up. You already know the game is rigged. The walls ain't just closing in, they were designed to crush you, so let's cut to it. What are we doing about it when you live on the market's leash, where profit and power chain the weak? To be heard, to be held, to break free. That's what the awakened demand. And we hear you. Obsidian Inner Order ain't for everyone. There's a paywall, yeah. But those who stand with us, those who fuel this mission, they put rounds in the chamber against the Archons. They push back against the machine. They get access to the deepest, rawest, most unfiltered truth. And as a thank you, they receive a 1-hour live, personalized group tarot reading every week. Guidance, strategy, clarity, the real kind. But kicking someone while they're down, that's a move for cowards. That's why starting today, you can steal the Astral Atom exclusive daily newsletter for free. No paywall, no catch. Just hit the Patreon free tier, link in the description. This isn't just us talking at you. This is bi-directional. Reply to any email we send. We'll read it, we'll hear you. and we'll do our best to get you an answer, straight from the universe. If you can support, we need you. If you can't, take what's free. The Obsidian. Inner order is open. Now, let's handle business. They will never admit it, but they wish they could undo it all. They wish they had never boarded that train, never jumped on the bandwagon, never let their envy and insecurities dictate their actions. But wishing won't change anything. What's done is done, and now they have to live with it. Meanwhile, you are rising. While they drown in regret, you are thriving. While they scramble to fix their crumbling image, you are stepping into your power. Every blessing they tried to block is now coming to you in abundance. Every door they tried to close is opening tenfold. They wanted you to fail, but all they did was make your victory even sweeter. Karma has arrived, and there is no escaping it. They thought they broke you. They convinced themselves that their words, their lies, their betrayal had done irreversible damage, that you would never recover, never rise again. But here you are, standing stronger than ever, untouched by the destruction they tried to cause. They put all their energy into trying to ruin you, and yet you don't even think about them anymore. You've released the pain, the anger, the hurt, the disappointment. It no longer has a hold on you. There was a time when their actions consumed your mind, when you replayed every betrayal, every insult, every moment of deceit. But now it feels distant, like a story that no longer belongs to you. They wanted you to carry the weight of their hatred forever, but you refused. You chose to heal, to grow, to move forward. While they obsess over you, you couldn't care less about them. They watch you from the shadows, desperate for any sign that their words still have power. They analyze your every move, hoping for a reaction, craving any acknowledgement of their existence. But you give them nothing. Your silence is louder than any response could ever be. And that silence, it is their biggest punishment. They wanted to control you, to dictate how you felt, to make you question your worth. But instead, they lost all access to you. Your energy is untouchable now. The doors they used to walk through so easily are permanently locked. They are no longer welcome in your space, your mind, or your life. They thought they had power over you, but the truth is, they never did. You've moved on. They haven't. And that reality is eating them alive. Regret, shame, embarrassment. These are the emotions running through the minds of those who once stood against you. They were so sure they were on the right side, so confident in the lies they believed. But now, with the truth exposed and the hate train derailed, they are left questioning everything. Many are realizing their mistake. The same people who once whispered about you in secret are now whispering about them, the ones who started it all. The conversations have shifted. Instead of asking, "Did you hear what they did?" the question now is, "How did we fall for this?" The realization is slow, creeping into their minds in quiet moments when no one is watching. Some will never admit it out loud, but deep down, they know they were wrong. Some are drowning in shame. They were active participants, not just bystanders. They helped spread the rumors, laughed at the lies, cheered for your downfall, and now they don't know how to undo the damage they helped cause. They think about the things they said, the way they treated you, and it haunts them. They are experiencing their own betrayals now, facing the same kind of deception they once supported. It's a cruel kind of karma, watching the cycle repeat itself, but this time, they are the ones on the receiving end, but not everyone is willing to face the truth. Some are still in denial, refusing to acknowledge their role in the destruction. Instead of apologizing, they double down, grasping at any excuse to justify their actions. But their attempts to rewrite history only make them look worse. The more they try to shift blame, the clearer it becomes that they were never standing on solid ground. The truth has a way of surfacing no matter how deeply it's buried, and now everyone sees it. Balance has been restored. The storm they created has passed, but they are the ones left standing in the wreckage. They thought they were in control, that they could twist the narrative to suit their agenda, but reality has rewritten the ending. The lies didn't hold, the deception crumbled, and now they are the ones paying the price. You are winning, and they know it. No weapon formed against you prospered. Every attempt to destroy you only propelled you further into your purpose. While they are struggling to maintain what little they have left, you are elevating. Opportunities are opening for you that they never saw coming. Your success, your happiness, your peace, it is the ultimate proof that their efforts were wasted. They tried to break you, but you became unshakable. Meanwhile, their regret is turning into isolation. The same people who once stood beside them are now keeping their distance. The alliances they built through slander are falling apart. When the lies were loud, they had an army, but now, with the truth exposed, they are alone. One by one, their supporters are abandoning them, each realizing they were misled. And soon, the ones who started this all will have no one left to blame but themselves. Some will try to return to you, desperate, to rewrite the past, to ease their own guilt. But you've already closed that door. The apology they owe will never undo what they did. And you don't need their closure. You've learned to protect your energy, to recognize who deserves access to you and who does not. This chapter is finished, and they are no longer a part of your story. Divine justice has restored balance. You never needed revenge. Fate took care of it for you. Stay focused on your path. Their karma is not your concern. You have already won by refusing to be consumed by their hatred. While they are left to deal with the destruction they caused, you are free to grow, to thrive, to move forward, without the weight of their negativity holding you back. Forgive, but don't forget. Forgiveness is for your peace, not their redemption. You do not have to reopen doors that were meant to stay closed. You do not have to entertain apologies that only serve to ease their guilt. What matters is that you remember who turned against you when the lies were loudest, because those same people would do it again if given the chance. You were always the victor, never the victim. The slander, the betrayal, the attacks, none of it stopped your destiny. They wanted to see you broken, but instead you emerged stronger. They wanted to see you silenced, but now your voice carries more power than ever. The hate train derailed. The wreckage is theirs to deal with. You've already moved on to better things.